Hi there, my name is Julie, and we're going to do a reading. Let's do 3 readings. Let's do a pick a reading. Oh, we haven't done that in a while. It's been a while, right? Maybe not this deck. Yeah, I'll just use this deck. I'm just going to give you 3 to choose from this deck, which is called the Trauma Treasure deck. I don't know what the reading's going to be about yet, but you will have known when you clicked on this. I'm just going to get the cards that you can pick from. While I shuffle for those cards, maybe I'll get my little rambling out of the way, because you know I like to ramble. And what do I have to say? I don't know. Today was a day where I didn't get much sleep last night because I knew I had to do something important today. So I did my important thing. Now my important thing is done. I feel really energized towards this thing that I have to deal with, which is, oh, look at this. Cute. Generally unpleasant just because it's a court case. And I'm just a supportive person to the person that's dealing with the court. And, you know, this system we got going on, it's so interesting how there's room for people to fall through the cracks, but because they're not the majority of people, the system just kind of says, well, this is the system. And like, I'm all like fired up, like, we don't let people fall through the cracks, so if the system lets people fall through the cracks, we gotta look at the system. That's what my day's been like. Let's see if that's relevant to the theme of the readings, but we're gonna make this one number 1. Ears ringing, ear infections. Interesting. Number 2, robbed, deprived, stolen from. Number 3, trapped, haunted, restricted. It doesn't necessarily mean these cards will represent what the reading's about. You know, there may be some abstract way that these fit into the reading, so don't let these kind of harsh or deep topics deter you if you feel drawn to this reading, okay? But pick 1, 2, or 3. Let's get started with pick 1. And I'm going to take from the Astrology Oracle. I'm using the app that I created at companionjulie.com. And I will try to show you too. If I dim the brightness, then you can see the screen. So this is the Oracle page. There are 11 card pickers on this page. And these are all decks that I made because I didn't want to run into any copyright issues. So this is the Astrology Oracle that we're picking from. So it's like all these cards stacked here. And then as I pick them, the reading displays here. I've got to pick 2 more cards for this reading. You pick them just by tapping on the card. And they fill in. And then here's your reading. And you can actually do all 11 card pickers at once and, you know, use the whole page as your reading. Let's see what we got. Okay, pick 1. heart of the matter, Elpis. It's been so long since I pulled that one, but I used to know what it meant. But it's interesting that I don't know. Is it hope? Opus. How can I not know what this means? So something might have slipped your mind. I'm just looking it up. The personification of hope. Yeah, often depicted as a young woman holding a flower or a cornucopia. Okay, so she's the one that was left in Pandora's box. Pandora's box was full of personifications. And when the box was opened, they all left the box except for hope. I have some videos on my channel about hope, about Elpis even. And when Pandora opened the jar given to her by Zeus, a host of troubles flew out and afflicted humanity. Elpis was the only thing that remained inside, staying to offer hope to the human race. And it says, the myth has a dual interpretation of hope. Elpis's presence is a comforting reassurance that hope remains a steadfast companion, even in the darkest of times. Some scholars suggest the ancient Greek word elpis could also mean expectation of bad or foreboding, implying that hope could be a source of despair or be a way of coping with the inevitable ills of life. I want to say that I do believe that hope is a way of coping, because having hope means that you're not hopeless, means that you're still like in it, in life, you know? And if you lose hope, you'll be in a much lower vibration, and it can be dangerous to be in a lower vibration, because when like attracts like, right? Like you're going to attract more reasons to feel that way. So if you are feeling low, though, sometimes it can be useful to use hope, because at least you're thinking that there are possibilities of something else, even though you will never fully line up with something else if you stay in the vibration of hope. I look at it more like a step on a ladder, because you ideally want to be in faith. You want to know that you're going to line up with something. You want to be in the vibration of having it. If you stay in the vibration of wishing for it, then you will always be in the vibration of wishing for it. You won't be in the vibration of having it. You see the difference? But if you're on a really low, dense vibration, then having hope is a way to like move your vibration up from that really low place. So it's useful in that way, you know? So I wouldn't knock hope or its usefulness, but it's saying that this is at the heart of the matter for this reading. Let's see what else. Influencing on a practical level is Neptune. On a practical level, there may be some confusion. You're being asked to learn something new, something you might not know about. Neptune can sometimes make things unclear. It's because we're being asked to know something we don't know. Influencing on an emotional level, the Sun. So on an emotional level, there is a realization, a light being shined on whatever you've been feeling about something. The opportunity is to bridge the gap between one way of being to another. We got Iris, the rainbow bridge builder, as the opportunity. So there's a lower way of being that is actually, this could be an instance where you're being asked to step up out of hope into faith. A challenging factor is karma. The challenge is that you've been doing it the other way, that maybe your whole family line's been doing it the other way. And balance out Gemini. Okay, so one thing about Gemini energy is it considers all sides, not just two sides, but like all the limitless possibilities that exist. Like Gemini has like this very fast way of taking in a lot of information. And this is saying like there is a lot of information here. And so don't let that overwhelm you. Like come into the fact that like knowing there is more information than you have, right? And that you may see a lot of it, but you may not even see all of it. Okay. What else? I'll pull some cards from the concepts deck now, and I'll keep reading until I feel like the message is complete. Your environment, envy. How does this affect you? Regret. An underlying issue, love. Change is needed, grace. What helps, victory, and what hinders, unfair. Wow. It's like with regard to, just hide the card pickers so I can get the readings right next to each other. I think that's a nice feature where you can, after you pick the reading, you can make it so that just the cards are there, and not the whole block where you choose cards from, you know? Just the reading display is there. Okay, so with regard to hope, wondering who needs to be given grace. Are you giving yourself grace? I'm just asking sort of internally. No, someone else is involved because there's envy. But it could be just other people in general, right? Maybe you've been hoping for something and there's some envy because there's other people in your life who have it. And you feel like it's something you can't have, but they have it and you want it. And it's like, maybe you didn't realize that the reason why you could never line up with it yourself is simply because you were holding on to a karmic pattern of never feeling good enough, never feeling like you could have it, never feeling like it would happen. You were too busy noticing what wasn't fair and how it wasn't working out and all of the regrets rather than getting into the place where you know you would receive it. Envy comes from not thinking you can have something that someone else has. Okay? Are we going to find out what this is? Unknown cause. You may not realize that you have been selfish. Known cause, addiction. You may know that you feel compulsed towards something. Influencing outcome. Happiness robber. Lighter influence. Conformity. Solved. Insult. Assisting. Avoidant. Okay. So maybe you've just been kind of staying away from the people that you felt envious of. And like when you get to the nice healed place where you're able to line up with something you want, you'll notice that you're actually happy for other people who have it. If you notice that you're not happy for other people who have it, then you know there's something in your vibration that's ready to be cleaned up, that needs to be cleaned up. And I feel like it's just a habit for you to do it this other way. Maybe it's what you were taught, but it's what's been going on for a long time. And you have been robbing your own happiness by sort of just doing what's been done, doing what was taught to you, thinking other people have it better or in some aspect. You may have even used to put those people down, and you have stopped that. And now you've started to just avoid them. Okay. Now I'm going to get something from the advice deck. Supportive resources, true love, changes needed, breath, breathe, stop waiting or rushing. Okay. Add more Mars, like know that this is within your control. What to surrender, 11th house, which is community and teams, cannot control others. Opportunity, victory, that's the second time victory has come up in your reading. You can achieve this. You can have the thing you want. Action to take, balance, that's the second time balance has come out in your reading. Victory and balance both came out in the concepts reading. Wow. I don't see the word balance here. Where did I get balance from? Hold on. All right, I don't know where I got balance from. There was something that was supposed to be balanced. All right, so you're being, balance out Gemini. That's what it was. Okay. So action to take, create that balance in that you don't know everything. So you don't know all the ways that this could come to you. You don't know how you could line up with it. You don't know how it could happen for you. There are limitless possibilities that exist, and you are not privy to all of them, even though you're privy to a lot of them. And this is kind of saying, like, it's not going to balance out within your mind if you keep ruminating or letting yourself obsess or be compulsed to think about this within a certain way, the same way that you always have been. So, like, slow down and take a breath, right? And you've been avoiding maybe the others that were triggering you on this envy, but it's saying, like, that's good. Like, you don't have to get them involved in this. Like, you've got the information you need as far as the reflections that you need. And what this is going to take is sort of like loving and understanding the part of you that didn't feel like it, like he or she was good enough, that she could line up with it, that she could have it, or that life was fair enough for it to come your way. Essentially, like, if we were just kind of to distill this down, I feel like it's like feeling victimized by life, in that you don't think life is fair enough to line you up with something you really want. And maybe you hadn't even directly admitted that to yourself. Maybe every time you kind of heard somebody else talking about it for themselves, you just sort of like maybe got triggered, maybe got annoyed, and maybe ignored them, or maybe told other people what you thought of them, or some way of coping came out. And this is sort of saying you can create balance, and you can create balance in a way that will line you up with what it is that you desire. Like, you literally can do that. And it's a matter of graduating out of hope, knowing that on a practical level, you don't know everything. You don't know all the ways that this could come to you. And on an emotional level, you're being shown a light on exactly what needs your attention in order for you to be free from this cycle. And this is a karmic pattern, and that means it's been repeating for a while. Karma is just energy that's been repeating. It could be passed down to you through the ancestry, and it could just be something that came to you in this lifetime, but it is something that your soul wants to overcome. You are equipped to do this. So whatever you've done in the name of this for yourself, like, it's like time to forgive yourself and understand this part of yourself that's been acting this way or thinking this way. It's not wrong for you to have thought this way, to feel this way, to even feel envious. It's not wrong. These are just human ways to feel and cope with experiences that we're having when we tell a certain story about it. And this is your chance to kind of open up and realize, oh, I've been telling this story, that's why I felt that way. It's like, oh, actually, that's not the whole story. There could be other ways. I might not be privy to all the ways that this could come in for me. The underlying issue is that you have not truly loved the part of you. You've sort of like outsourced this part of you and said, like, well, you're not worth it because you don't have that. And now it's like, well, this part of you thinks that you've disowned it because it's not worthy of having that. And this part of you needs your love, like real care. Like, I care how you feel. It's okay that you wanted that. It's okay that you felt envious. It's okay that you, whatever you did in the name of coping with this, right? And it's like, start giving yourself grace, and then you'll give others grace. But like, give yourself some grace. To continuously think that this is unfair or that life is unfair is going to keep you in the pattern and keep you stuck. So allow for yourself the knowing that you can line up with this. Not the hoping that you will, but the knowing that you can. And I feel like one of the things that we learn when we're like learning about manifestation and lining up with our desires and stuff is like that you don't know how it's going to come. You just know you're worthy. So you just get into that vibration. You just get into knowing the place within you who knows you're worthy. So love all the parts of you that don't know they are worthy. Okay. That was your reading. Pick one. Now we're going to move on to pick two. Pick two. Let's get a concepts reading. I think I showed pile one. You may have come from pile one, but basically I'm using my app at companionjulie.com. There's an oracle card picker on there that is available for all free members. So you don't have to be a paid member in order to utilize it. And that's what I'm using here to do this reading. Concepts. And these are all decks that I made. They're oracles. Your environment. Content. How this affects you. Omens. An underlying issue. Location. Changes needed. Envy. What helps? Self-inquiry. What hinders? Higher standards. Interesting. Your environment. Content. How this affects you. Omens. An underlying issue. Location and changes needed. Envy. This could tie into pile one if you've come from there, but what I want to say about this is you might think that you need to raise your standards in order to achieve something, when in fact, more about where you're letting yourself be within where you are. It's like you have misread something where you think that you're being guided towards something, or that you're being guided in a certain direction. Let me get another reading here before I go into this too much further, because I feel like it's a little bit too cloudy for me to pin down. So I'm going to take some cards from the astrology oracle. Heart of the matter, Nessus. Influencing on a practical level, Heb. Influencing on an emotional level, Degree. Opportunity, Artemis. Challenging factor, Disseminating Moon. And balance out, Constantia. You have committed yourself to something that is the thing that's holding you back. The thing that you've committed yourself to. It's almost like you think like, let's just improve on this thing a little bit, or let's just justify being in this thing because I have high standards. But actually, there's something else going on here. I have to look up a few things to get this exactly. So let's look up Heb. I think it's about being in service, but let's look it up. So these are asteroids, right? And asteroids go along with the mythology. So that's what I'm looking up, the Heb mythology. The goddess of youth and eternal youth, and the cupbearer to the gods of Mount Olympus. Her name translates to youth or bloom of youth. She's the daughter of Zeus and Hera, and wife of the hero Hercules. Mother of the twins, and in some mythologies the twins are Artemis and Apollo. Had the unique power to restore or age mortals and gods. Interesting. Okay. Cupbearer for the gods. Served ambrosia. See, that's where I got being in service. Who served ambrosia at the heavenly feast. Okay. And this is influencing on a practical level. And notice we talked about aging there. Youthfulness or aging. And it was like she got to say. Okay? So we might be looking at something that's coming in on a very shallow level. And you're kind of built a structure around something on a shallow level is what I'm gathering so far. But I want to look in a little bit deeper here. So influencing on an emotional level is degree. And the degree, when we're looking at it in terms of astrology, it means at a precise moment, a precise point where energy is pointed or accumulated or drawn from. Okay. I want to just look at the Artemis mythology and see what stands out. I know Artemis is the archer and the hunter. Artemis. This is the opportunity, the hunt, wild nature, and chastity, and known as Apollo's twin sister. Her sacred symbols include the bow and the arrow, the quiver, and the wild animals like the deer, stag, and bear. She is the goddess of the hunt, but also goddess of chastity, childbirth, and the moon. Artemis is known for her swift and harsh punishments when angered. Okay. She was a patron of young women and girls who would dedicate their toys to her upon coming of age. She was also seen as the protector of childbirth and would watch over mothers and children. Okay. So there's an opportunity here to I think it's rebirth yourself. But to do it in a way that is like graduating out of youth, right? Because the children are giving their toys to Artemis as they grow too old for them. And we've got Hebe here who's talking about restoring youth or giving aging. And it's like you're growing up. And what you valued was something that was a bit shallow. Maybe it was beauty, looks, youth, smooth skin, no wrinkles, those hormones that flow with you and you don't have to worry too much. Um, any of those things that kind of change when you start to age. Now, just so you know, I'm a proponent of de-aging. Like, I believe that we can take very good care of ourselves and that we don't have to, that we can age gracefully, but also, like, it's still aging. Like, you still are going to be aging, right? Like, I don't know, like, I think that you can take very good care of yourself. But what if your soul was coming in here to learn a lesson about the value of what, maybe your soul wanted to learn something about not putting all her eggs in the basket of beauty. Maybe she wanted to see, like, how you would fare if you lost your beauty at some point. Now, I'm not saying you're going to lose your beauty. I'm just using this as an example, right? Like, what if your soul needed to somehow learn the value in something other than that very shallow aesthetic thing, right? Let's look at disseminating moon. This is a challenging factor. Disseminating moon is about sharing wisdom, insights, and creativity, much like scattering seeds after harvest. It represents a time to move from internal reflection to outward action, focusing on distributing what you have learned during the full moon. This phase is also associated with the themes of renewal, personal growth, and taking an active role. So we did mention, like, renewal, right? Like rebirth, I think I called it. Okay. So maybe you've been holding yourself to some sort of standard. Maybe you've had a certain ritual in your life, and it's based on the fact that you value a certain something that might actually have to do with youth, or, something that is sort of fleeting. I do believe that we can de-age. I do believe that we can take really good care of ourselves, but I also believe that even if we wanted to do that, and even if our mind was set on doing that, that if God, the divine, if the universe wanted to set us up with a experience of life that would teach us something, that it would override that. Like, you could lose your beauty even though you've done everything to de-age. You know what I mean? Like, if that was your soul's plan to learn something. That's what just keeps coming for me. Now, let me switch back to the concepts. Yeah. Omens, content, an underlying issue, location, changes needed, envy, what helps self-inquiry, and what hinders higher standards. It kind of wants you to kind of get humbled a little bit and kind of get more real with yourself about what is beauty, or what is the thing, what is youth, what is... It's like you've made something mean something that it doesn't mean. And your soul is trying to teach you that right now. Okay? And I don't think you would expect that this was something that you would have to learn at all. I think you've been pretty comfortable in your thoughts and view of things and the rituals that you have, and you're very good at it, right? This isn't about you being punished. This is about your soul just wanting to learn something particular that you're going to have experiences around, and it's kind of giving you a heads up, like, hey, do you mind looking at this thing on a deeper level? Like, what does it really mean? You know? Unknown cause, undecided. Known cause, dictator. So someone else told you how to think about this. Influencing outcome, intellectualization. A lighter influence is cruelty. You know, the word pretty privilege just came to mind and stuff, and it's like, there could be fear around losing beauty when you've seen people be cruel, you know, based on looks and things like that, right? Solved, not trustworthy. Assisting is inferiority. Yeah, it's kind of like you're being knocked off a block or two. Like, it's saying, instead of like holding yourself above the rest, what if you were to kind of come down and see something from a different level? And what if you could do that without having to lose the thing that you value? You know? What if you just opened yourself to listening to your heart about it, or asking more, you know, questions from within, or listening to other people talk about that topic and their experience with it, and trying to put yourself in their shoes and things like that, you know? Let's get some advice. Okay, some advice for pick 2. Who may feel like they're losing something that they value. And that might be very difficult for them. Something that they value on a very shiny level, you know? Supportive resources. 8th house. So it will be supportive to you to look into your shadow, to look at the things people don't talk about. Look at your reasons why. Ask yourself, what would be so bad about that? You know, imagine the worst case scenario that you could imagine on this topic, and then ask yourself, what would be so bad about that? And then keep asking yourself that question until you come to the base of what would be so bad about that for you. You know? Change is needed. Balance. Yeah, it's asking you to just balance this out. Balance means that you're not like shunning or disowning the part of you who feels the way you feel about it. You're in a fixed view of this topic, and it's just asking you to like understand that there's a lot of other ways to think and feel about this topic, and it would be helpful if you would balance out your view so that you're not fixed, that you can make that choice, but you're making it from a place that is more neutral instead of any fear that you might find in the bottom of asking yourself what would be so bad about that, right? Like, there might be a reason why you're valuing this thing. And when you do this self-inquiry, it doesn't mean that this thing won't be valuable to you anymore. It just means that when you choose it, you'll be doing it without the fear or the other reason that you were doing it. You'll be doing it because out of all the things you could choose, you want to choose that, you know? But you understand that you'd be just as valuable if you chose it a different way, or if you didn't value that. You know what I mean? It's asking you to kind of balance out the energy in this. Add more stillness. So meditation, being still, being alone with yourself, not scrolling, and just kind of slowing down so that you can hear your thoughts, so you can kind of do some self-inquiry. Surrender any deception, self-deception, right? Where you're not being honest with yourself about why you value it or how much you do. We got balance again as an opportunity. The change is needed as a balance, and the opportunity is balance. And action to take. What could this imply? So you've implied one meaning. What else could it imply? Keep asking yourself that question. You know? Do you really want to just be valued for something that could be taken away? Because there's a whole lot of depth to you, you know? Do you really want to just be valued by someone who only has to look at your skin and that's the only thing they value you for? You know? It's like that. It's asking you to go a little deeper with yourself. Okay? That completes pick 2. And next we have pick 3. Okay, pick 3. We're going to start with an astrology reading. I'm doing my digital oracle cards from my companionjulie.com app. Check it out if you're interested. First, we have Heart of the Matter, Gibbous Moon. Gibbous Moon is a time of refinement, influencing on a practical level, Euphrazine. I believe Euphrazine talks about celebration, but I am going to look it up right now. Euphrazine. EU. One of the 3 graces, the goddess of mirth, good cheer, and joy. She is the daughter of Zeus and Eurynomé, and is often depicted dancing with her sisters, Algea, beauty, and Thalia, good cheer. Her name itself means mirth in Greek. She's the goddess of mirth. Euphrazine embodies happiness, laughter, and good times. Her name literally means mirth or joy. She is one of the 3 charities who were responsible for bringing pleasantness and joy to the world. Okay. Merriment. Okay. Influencing on a practical level is joy and merriment. Influencing on an emotional level is Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. He's the centaur that is said to be a very talented healer, but he could never quite fully heal himself in one of the mythologies. I haven't looked him up, to be honest, in years, so let's do it now. Let's see what Google's AI is now saying about Chiron. A wise and noble centaur in Greek mythology, son of the Titan Cronus and the Oceanid Philyra. Unlike other centaurs known for their savagery, he was a renowned teacher, instructing many heroes like Achilles and Jason in medicine, music, and warfare. His story ends with him being accidentally wounded by Hercules' poisoned arrow. Unable to heal due to his immortality and the toxic wound, he surrendered his immortality to Prometheus and was placed among the stars as the constellation Centaurus. Unlike other centaurs who were known for being violent, Chiron was respected for his wisdom and civilization. He was often depicted wearing clothes, and his name is linked to the Greek word for hand and surgeon. Teacher to heroes, he was a legendary tutor who trained many prominent Greek heroes. The wounded healer, an aspect of his myth is that he became a wounded healer. Despite his vast knowledge of medicine, he could not heal a wound he received from Hercules' poisoned arrow. That wound caused him immense and incurable agony. To end his suffering, he renounced his immortality. Okay. And this is affecting you on an emotional level. All right. There's an opportunity with a particular person. We got name asteroid. Whenever the name asteroid card comes out, I know that it's referring to a particular specific person in your life. The challenging factor is melpomene. Melpomene is like drama. And balance out Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the philosopher, the higher mind, the long distance travel, the wise one. There's so much here about being in joy and happiness, but being emotionally distraught. And you're being asked to refine. Okay? Give me more. Give me more with the concepts deck. Your environment. Listen to doubt. How this affects you. Delaying. An underlying issue. Maturing through challenge. Change is needed and joy. Oh. What helps? Surrender to flow. And what hinders? Stuck in development. Okay. It's kind of saying that the joy that you're experiencing now is sort of a coping mechanism right now, or an avoidance tactic. And it's kind of saying that it would be nice if you let yourself be refined through the feelings that are coming up, which are uncomfortable, turbulent, maybe even dramatic. And I think that they're coming up due to your interaction with another person. Okay? So, this drama, this hurt, this pain, this agony, it's saying like, yeah, you're going to use your higher mind to figure this out. You know, you might have to be present with some uncomfortable feelings and you will see it from a higher view, but like you are going to have to go through this. So like stop partying, stop avoiding, stop pretending everything's okay. Take the smile off for a minute because you got some work to do. And this could be such a well-practiced coping mechanism that you don't even realize that you're doing it so much to avoid something. Like you might just think this is your lifestyle or this is who you are, you know? I feel like you would be surprised to hear me say something like, stop trying to avoid this, because I don't think that you think that you're avoiding anything by doing what you're doing. But the thing is, like, if this is what you consider your lifestyle, it could be that you've just been avoiding this for quite some time. Because we did have how this affects you delaying, you know? And maturing through the challenge. It's like you are sort of... I want to be gentle when I say this, and I'm not picking on you, but like in an immaturity with coping the way that you have been. And facing this challenge matures you. Okay? So it's actually you're a self-healing being. And if you would just stop doing the things that you were doing to avoid it, you're gonna face it and you're gonna get through it and you're gonna process it and then you're gonna mature yourself and you will no longer be stuck in your development. And this is kind of important, right? Like, it doesn't mean you'll never be happy again. It doesn't mean that being happy was wrong. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have been coping the way you were coping. If that's what you needed to do to cope, then that's what you needed to do to cope, right? This is just an invitation. It's just saying, hey, by the way, there's something here you've been delaying to do, and it is time to do it. So if you'd like to take a look, you're actually going to be matured through this challenge. It's not for nothing that we're asking you to go through this. Yes, a person is activating you in this. Let's look at what it really is. A song just came into my head. Look now what I've become. It's something like about becoming an alien. Look now what I've become. Hold on. I got too many things coming in my mind at once. I want to get the lyrics to that. Hold on here. Look now what I've become. Do I know any of the other lyrics? I got this. Hold on. Uh, thought it would be right there. Let me just look somewhere else. See if I can get this song. I'll recognize the title when I see it. I just need a minute. An Alien in Minneapolis. Let me look at the lyrics. It says, someone from another space and time. You took all our friends. Look what I have become. Look what I have become. Look what I have become. Okay, that's all it says. No wonder that's the only lyric I knew. That's funny. No, there's more. Someone from another space and time. Look now what I've become. Just anyone, no one. Look now what I've become. Someone from another space and time. You took all the birds and then you sent me away. You took all our friends and added them to your band. The 70s records, you drove them away in a cab. The vintage television gone as well. Okay. An alien, an alien. Look now what I've become, an alien. Your parents felt vindicated, always found me a waste. Must be the music thing, always called it devil's spell. Your sister sold the necklace that I bought for her in Japan. The neighbor was conflicted, and so was Gail. Look now what I've become. An alien, an alien, an alien in America. Okay, so the other person that we're referring to could have been a breakup. It could have been someone who kind of like wrote you off and really made you feel devalued, and who you feel a little bit empty without. So what does it make you feel? And it's saying like slow down and like look at these feelings because they're tied to something here. Like this is a gift for you in order to look into your shadow, okay? Because this isn't the first time you felt this way. Right now, this is the reason that you have been avoiding to feel this way. But this is alerting to you to a feeling that's been stuck within you, a pattern. And you've had a pattern of avoiding it. Okay? So let me now read these cards. I knew it was going to reset after I did all that, so I'm glad that I took a little screenshot of the reading. And I designed this so that the reading can be taken, you can take a screenshot of your reading because all the cards will fit on the screenshot. See? The 6 cards from the card picker anyway. Not necessarily from all the other card pickers throughout the throughout the thing. Okay. So, unknown cause, blocked heart. You may not know that you've had a blocked heart. Known cause, wallowing. You know that there are some times that you may feel like wallowing in this. Influencing outcome, people pleasing. See, like in that song, he said like he gave so-and-so a necklace and he couldn't please the parents and blah, blah, blah. So-and-so's disappointed. It's like all these other people that are mentioned in that song as being like people that like don't care about him anymore. So maybe like there has been something where you felt like you were doing all you could to be what you had to be to the people that you needed to like you. A lighter influence is masking, and that means that like basically you were just showing them the face that you needed to show them in order to get them to like you. And solved is abuse of authority. So this is something you've already worked through, is abuse of authority. I don't think you'll be putting up with people's bullshit or anything like that. I'm not sure exactly how that's tied in, but it may be tied into your specific situation, or it just might be that you needed a recognition amongst all of this being called out. Assisting is depersonalization. So somehow, if you can look at this situation as if, like I was reading that song, as if it wasn't you that it was happening to, when you look at it from, like, if that situation was happening to someone else, and you can kind of see, like, the error of their ways, you know what I mean? So it's kind of saying, it might assist you to look at it like that, like, look at it as if it was somebody else doing what you're doing, and acting how you're acting, and feeling how you're feeling. So basically, when you are feeling this, you're not feeling it fully while in presence. And that's the difference between having it linger and healing it fully. There's a formula that I talk about a lot on my channel, and it's basically to acknowledge the issue, to validate why you have it, because there's a perfectly good reason that you've got this issue. You know, basically it comes at times where we were overwhelmed, we had a misunderstanding, or we just were not prepared to feel what we needed to feel in the moment that it was happening. So an unprocessed feeling. So once we've validated the reason that we've been avoiding this, or even why we feel this way in the first place, then we accept that here we are at this point in our life with this to heal. Like, this is the case. I have this boo-boo. I have this hurt that needs to be resolved. And then you be present with the feeling. And when I say present, it means that you're not wishing it was different anymore. You're not blaming. You're not thinking about the past or the future. You're literally being with it. Remember, this is the card you chose, so it's trapped, haunted, restricted. This has been haunting you, and it is holding you back. And it's like, be with this feeling as if you're allowing it to sit on your shoulder with you for as long as it would like. You know, you're not being present with it because you want it to go away, but eventually you're going to become the version of yourself who can handle it when you're no longer resisting it, which you're no longer going to be resisting it once you've accepted that this is what is yours to process. And when you've accepted it, it opened up your central channel. So now this energy is going to be activated by you putting your attention on it, being present with it. And once your attention is on it, it reanimates. And because you have accepted it, it's going to reanimate right through your central channel and move through you like the energy wave that it is. And then you will have become the version of yourself that can handle that feeling. So you won't do anything to try to avoid feeling that again in the future. So next time you go into joy or go to a party or just have fun or, you know, tell yourself all the nice things about life, it'll be from a just much more authentic and genuine place. And authenticity is the highest vibration you can be in. You know, you're in authenticity when you're actually feeling a thing that is associated with an experience you had and a story you told. Authenticity is the freedom to not wear the mask and to not have to please the people. And it also puts you in the position for your heart to open. There may be other things that need to be cleared in order for your heart to open, or this might do it. But this is definitely going to help towards the cause, right? Yeah. Okay. I kind of feel like I want to do one more reading for you, and that's from the self-care deck. Okay? Self-care deck. It's saying you're doing well with your nails. Okay? It might be recognition for somebody who just clipped their nails, cut their nails, maybe their toenails, I don't know, cleaned them. Maybe just even picked up a nail off the work site today. Like, who knows what it was, but like, you're being acknowledged for something that you handled having to do with nails. And it could be directly to the self-care of your nails. Add more cut ties. So you might be surrounding yourself with people that you do have to play that role for, and you do have to wear that mask with. And it's saying like you might need to cut ties with more people, more roles that you've been in. Too much rest. Okay, there is a time and a place for rest, and sometimes that inertia can kind of become a habit and we lose our momentum. And this is saying, yeah, you might want to push yourself out of rest right now, especially if you're being like prompted to take some action on this healing process for yourself. Give to self, take a chance. You might be saying like, that wouldn't ever work. And it's saying like, maybe take a chance, maybe do it as an experiment. I love a good experiment. How about you? Give away silence. It means let other people stop responding to you. Here's the thing. Some of those relationships that you've been feeding, you've been the only one feeding them. So when you pull back, when you decide to cut ties, you might be surprised that they don't keep reaching out, that they don't reach for you, that they don't try anymore. It's saying let that be the way. It's also saying you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. There are some places where it's just not appropriate. And then solution, Palo Santo. Interesting. So it's saying there are some resources out there that could help you clear your energy and relax a little bit. And if you're familiar with Palo Santo, that might be one of them. If you're not familiar, it's basically just like a little stick that has some resin in it that when you burn it, it clears the certain energy, and mostly in your body. Like the Palo Santo is a good one for your body. Sage can do the space that you're in, right? So you might want to look into, clearing using smoke, but you can also clear using a bell or like a sound bowl or a tuning fork or cinnamon spray or lavender spray, or, whatever works for you. But there are some things that you could do to help move the dense energy around you, including cutting ties with people that are only there to support the coping mechanism that you've been using. Okay? And you're going to feel a lot more free after this. Like a lot more. You're freeing yourself. Okay? And it's interesting that song is like, look now what I've become. And it's, I'm an alien. And look, he looks like an alien, doesn't he? Yeah. So get to know yourself and embrace your quirks and your differences and not fitting in, and just see where that leads you, because authenticity is the highest vibration. You will line up with those that you resonate with more easily when you're not using the coping mechanisms and masking and things like that, Okay. All right. That completes your reading.